What's up everybody, welcome back to another BTT gaming video, and for the first time on the channel, we're going to be doing a ban list prediction video. Now, Konami kind of called my bluff a little bit. I usually don't do these in time, but Konami has been taking their sweet old time releasing this ban list. We still don't know exactly when it's going to come out, especially because, you know, they said that it'll be out in a couple months or so, and it's been a handful of months since the last ban list. We don't know if it's going to come out before or after the Hartford YCS. We'll see. As each day goes by, the YCS gets closer and closer. But it's still not out, so this gives me a chance to actually make a ban list prediction video. Now, these are all picks I'm making based off of what I think is going to get hit or unhit, not what I want to get hit or not what I want to get unhit, because believe me, that list might be a little more controversial, but that's for another video. This is just based on what I think will get hit based on how Konami has acted in the past and what I think is going to make a big impact on the meta moving forward. Now, it is worth noting that I do not think this is going to be a huge massacre list. I think there's only going to be a couple bans. I think they're going to bring a good handful of things back and limit a bunch of other things, but I don't think a ton of stuff is going to be banned. So let's just look at it right now, and you'll see right off the bat, I only have 3 hits. I only have 3 hits on the ban list here. The first one might be a bit of a surprise. Destiny Hero Celestial. Now, I know what you're thinking, really? But that's not even the problem card. I mean, yeah, it's good, but that's not even the problem card in the Fusion Destiny DPE sort of engine. And you're right about that. Now, this card is very, very good in this engine. This card is basically a pot of greed in the graveyard. Once you send it with Fusion Destiny, which you're probably using Versa Anaconda for, and when you have no cards in your hand, you banish it and draw 2. Okay? Just based off of how Konami handles cards that say draw 2, I mean, look at last ban list, right? They limited Pot of Desires, and you had to banish 10 cards to draw 2. Okay, I think a similar thing is going to happen here, but they're going to flat out ban Destiny Hero Celestial. And another reason is because I'm trying to sort of look into the mind of Konami a little bit and think about how they've handled cards like Crystron Haki Fibrax, where that was obviously a problem card, but instead they banned or limited a lot of stuff around it instead of banning the actual problem card. I think a very similar thing is going to happen here at Versa Anaconda. I think Anaconda will get hit eventually, but not yet. So they're going to instead take away a very good piece of the engine, which is Destiny Hero Celestial, and ban that. Another card you don't see on this list is Artifact Scythe, and I'll talk about that in a second. Next we have Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew. This card was limited on a previous ban list, and I think this card's going to be banned, or something in Prank Kids is going to be banned. Not only did it show a ton of representation at the North Carolina, the Charlotte YCS, but it won the whole thing. So I think Meow Meow Mew is going to be the hit. It's probably the best Prank Kids extra deck card, so I think Meow Meow Mew is going to get banned. I think it's going to be a big hit for Prank Kids moving forward, and there's a couple other changes that will be made that will affect that deck as well. And the other ban, we have Artifact Dagda. Now this one's kind of weird, okay? Artifact Dagda is only a Link 2, and the easy hit is Scythe. Oh, just ban Scythe, you know. The Scythe is the problem card. The Scythe lock is an issue. Okay, but if you ban Dagda, okay, you have a couple options. You run 1 or 2 Scythes in your main deck and you hope that you hard draw it, okay, or you ban Scythe, but you keep Dagda, which gets Scythe out of the main deck, which further continues that Scythe lock. I think Dagda is the actual problem card, just like how Anaconda is the problem card with Fusion Destiny and Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. I think Dagda is going to be the hit here, and it's not going to be Artifact Scythe. because now when you're deciding if you want to use the Scythe lock, you have to figure out how many Scythes you want to put in the main deck, and now you just have to rely on hard drawing it, which I don't think a lot of people are going to want to do. So in terms of bans, when it comes to the Scythe lock, I think Dagda is actually going to be the hit. And yeah, these are the 3 bans that I think are going to happen on this upcoming ban list. I know it's small, it doesn't seem like a lot, but just trying to think about how Konami thinks, again, with Celestial, you take a piece away from that DPE engine, and if they're not going to ban Anaconda, they're going to hit the engine other ways, just like they do with other problem cards in other engines. Again, I refer back to Halqifibrax, where think of all those tuners that were taken away because of Halqifibrax, but the problem card wasn't hit. I think a similar thing is going to happen here. Meow Meow Mew, I think, is the obvious hit for Prank Kids. If they're going to touch Prank Kids, I think this is the hit. And surprisingly enough, I think they're going to ban Dagda and not Scythe. That could be a long shot, but I think that's going to be the move. So now let's look at what I think is going to be limited. Alright, and here we are with my, what I think is going to be on the limited list. There's some things that are going to be knocked down to limited, some things that are going to be brought back from banned, and there might be a couple surprising hits on here, but I think Konami is going to think this one through a little bit. First, the ones that are going to go from 3 to 1, or in this case, Fusion Destiny is going to go from 2 to 1. Fusion Destiny, again, if they're going to keep Anaconda like I think they are, I think they're going to actually limit Fusion Destiny down to 1, because when they semi-limited it to 2, nothing really changed at all. Sure, it sort of changed the consistency of how much you hard draw Fusion Destiny, or how much you get Fusion Destiny into your opening hand, but again, Anaconda is still a thing. I think at the very least, if they're not going to ban Anaconda, they're going to decrease the likelihood of drawing Fusion Destiny more. Again, this is a big hit to heroes, unfortunately, but sometimes that's the way it goes. I think Fusion Destiny goes down to 1 on this list. Next, we have Super Polymerization. I think this is going to be kind of a preemptive hit. Seeing how the branded stuff goes, I don't think they want the Super Poly stuff to get too out of control. Again, this could be another long shot, but if Super Poly isn't going to be limited, I can see it being semi-limited. I don't know. I don't think it's going to stay at 3. I think Super Poly is going to be limited on this next list. Next, coming off the ban list completely to 1, Performer Power Monkey Board. Let's see how this goes. They've been slowly, over the last several months and even a couple years, have been bringing back cards from the Pendulum deck. I think Monkey Board is the next one. They brought back like things like Joker, things like Astrograph Sorcerer. I think Monkey Board might be the next one. And the last one is going to be a little bit surprising. Heavy Storm. They've been bringing back these really old field destruction cards, like Raigeki's at 3, Dark Hole is at 3. You know, Duster's at 1. I think they're going to try Heavy Storm at 1 and see how that goes. I don't think it's going to be played that much. Like, sure, you can have both Duster and Heavy Storm in your side deck, but cards like Twin Twister and things like that and Lightning Storm are still in the game, and those cards are kind of better. But I think they're going to bring Heavy Storm to 1. Again, they've been bringing cards like this back slowly. Raigeki's at 3 now, Dark Hole's at 3 now. I think Harpy's Feather Duster is going to still be at 1, but I think Heavy Storm is going to be at 1 as well. But I think the 2 biggest hits here to limit are going to be Fusion Destiny and Super Polymerization. Again, Fusion Destiny, because I just don't think they're going to hit Anaconda. Instead, they're going to bring Fusion Destiny down to 1. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention on the limited list, I think they're going to limit Wandering Griffin Rider and no other parts of the Adventure Engine. In classic Konami style, they're of course going to limit the cheapest card of that engine. But also, this is the big negate of the engine, so I think it's going to make that slight hit to the Adventure Engine. They're not going to hit any of the other cards in the engine, I don't think. Not yet. It's still pretty new. I think eventually they will on a future ban list, but I think for right now they're just going to limit the Wandering Griffin Rider and we'll kind of see how that goes. Alright, here we are with what I think is going to be the semi-limited list, and this one's also kind of interesting. Obviously, cards like Destiny Hero Malicious are going to stay at 2, but a lot of the cards that are on the semi-limited list now are either going to drop down to limited or get bumped up to 3. These are cards that they're all limited, but are going to come to 2 because I don't think they're going to make a huge impact on the overall metagame. These cards include Danger Tsuchinoko and Danger Jackalope. They've been slowly bringing back the Danger cards, like Danger Nessie, for example. So I think they're going to bring Tsuchinoko and Jackalope back to 2, just to sort of see what happens and see where that goes. I think they should be okay at 2. I don't know, that seems like a Konami thing to do. If it's not both of them, it's going to be one of them, but I think they're both going to be on the semi-limited list. Next, Salamangreat Gazelle. This card's been limited for a while. Salamangreat hasn't really been doing anything crazy for a while now, so I think Gazelle is fine to go from 1 to 2. And then same thing for Fairy Tail Snow. Again, people were really excited when Snow came back to 1. It hasn't really made a huge impact in the metagame, so I think Fairy Tail Snow should also be fine to go from 1 to 2. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to add. Yes, I do think Salamangreat Mirage Stalio is also going to come back to 2. Just, again, one of those Salamangreat cards that's good, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference at 2. So again, let's take a look at the unlimited list. Alright, and here are my unlimiteds. I don't think this will be really much of a surprise. 3 Scapegoat. Scapegoat hasn't done anything at 2, so I think Scapegoat is fine to come back at 3. A Hero Lives was just put on the semi-limited list, but listen, if Konami's going to take away Fusion Destiny from hero players, the least they can do is bring back a Hero Lives and put it at 3. I think that's completely fine. I think hero players will be happy with that. So I think a Hero Lives will go from 2 to 3. And I also think that Salamangreat Circle is also going to go from 2 to 3. You know, Salamangreat will be gaining a good amount of its cards back, but I still don't think it's going to be making a huge impact on the metagame as a whole. So yeah, that's my ban list prediction. I bet you I'm probably just going to be 100% wrong. Most likely because it's Konami, and who knows? And who knows when this actual ban list is going to come out. You know, yeah, there's probably cards missing on this list that probably should be on this list, whether they're banned or limited or whatever, in top decks, but I just don't think that this is going to be a huge massacre list. If anything, as you can see from my limits, semi-limits, and unlimited, we're going to be getting a good amount of cards back. So we'll see how well we do. We'll compare once the actual ban list comes out. I could be pretty close, or I could be dead wrong. So we'll just have to see. So that is my ban list prediction, and we'll see what happens. So I will see you on the next one. Later.